This is She Goes Beyond, and I'm your host, Victoria Fregis. Here we're dedicated to changing the status quo and building a powerful community of women who can do it all. Who says you only have to be one thing? So grab your rod or your bow and tune in to the stories of women who love the same things that you do. You never know, you might just meet your next best friend. Okay, I cannot say enough good things about this guest. The go-getter in her is wired. From ultramarathons to fly fishing to the woods. Good luck catching this girl. She is obsessed with leveling up, and there are so many takeaways in this episode. We talk about being mentally tough when your body says it can't take anymore, how important it is to be a kind, good human, and obviously, fly fishing and her recent turkey hunt. Please welcome Jess Suvak. Yay! Awesome. Well, hi, Jessica. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah. I'm just so excited to get to know you. It's so funny. These podcasts are like I have people on. People probably think that I like have good conversation prior to, but I never do. So it's just like I get to meet you at the same time that everyone else gets to meet you kind of thing. So I'm really excited to like get to know you a little better.
Yeah, same with you. I'm pumped to be on here and looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. So let me just pull up my notes here. You can just start. Tell us like where you're located, maybe a little bit
Yeah,
about yourself, like the work you do, that kind of thing.
cool. Yeah. So currently right now I'm in Bozeman, Montana. We just moved here in October. Originally from Cleveland, Ohio. So born and raised Cleveland, Ohio. Big move just out here right now. And yeah, so it's been great so far, but interesting getting used to the fishing and the hunting and everything out this way. I'm actually in beer and wine sales. I've been in beer and wine sales for the past probably 13 years of my life. But I love it because it gives me the time and the hours to put into fishing and now recently hunting and all the things that I love to do. And then, yeah, and also give time back to doing like Ohio Women the Fly when I was involved with that and a lot of like community outreach. So, yeah, that's kind of my little where I'm at right now.
Yeah. That's super cool. So you just said the like some of the community outreach things that you do. Tell us more about those things.
Yeah, so back in Ohio, I originally started an all outdoor group and it was actually called Green Girl. So climbing, trail running, fishing, like whatever you can imagine being outside. I helped create a community for women outdoors in the Ohio area. I ended up handing that off to an amazing gal named Jen, who is still currently doing it right now. And then myself and another gal started Ohio Women on the Fly. So Katie Johnstone, who now is 100% organizing that. She's amazing. She's definitely, we're like yin and yang when it comes to like organizing community, but it worked out perfectly. She's definitely like very organized and I'm very big on like front person almost. You know what I mean? So out there doing things, casting lessons and everything like that. And she's doing a wonderful job now. It's insane how big Ohio Women on the Fly has gotten. And being out here in Montana, looking at everything that they're doing right now, I'm like super impressed with it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
super cool. Well, tell us more, like for
yeah.
people who don't know, like Ohio on the Fly, tell us more about what are they doing right now?
Yeah, so Ohio Men on the Fly, it is basically a group to get more women engaged in fly fishing in Ohio.
Okay.
So we'll do anything by casting lessons, we'll do presentations, we'll have people come on and do clinics, we'll do tying events. You name it. When it comes to fly fishing, we've done it. Hosted trips, we've done local trips. It's pretty awesome. So currently, right now, I believe that they're having quite a bit of fly tying events happening. I do know that they had some steelhead group trips that are going to be getting organized, and then pike float as well. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like I said, the impact is pretty phenomenal. Before we were pretty local, and then we got pretty national. Honestly, like a lot of people know us, and a lot of people actually reach out to us asking us how they could start their own groups, like Ohio on the Fly.
Oh my
It's
God.
been a huge impact. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's an
for
honor.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a huge impact for women fly fishing in general. Like, honestly, it's, we've gotten a few of us gals from Ohio have been able to be in a few, just like, Orbis photos for their magazines and things like that. And just like our community that we have started, it's pretty awesome. And it's like fun, it's inviting, anyone is welcome. And we do a lot of stuff like with, co-ed as well. So co-ed tying, we're doing a lot more of those type of events just because, just because we're ladies doesn't mean that we cannot teach anyone. I think I said that correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, it was a fun ride, and I'm hoping to kind of get more involved out in Montana doing those same things now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you able to still be involved with it, like from Montana?
Yeah. So I definitely handed it off, and Katie has given it to, we've actually created a chapter, right? So we have a bunch of gals organizing different things like their social, like the social media. There's like a gal just doing like group trips, there's a gal doing fly tying nights. I forgot to mention, we did like entomology classes. So the study of like the bugs that, are these fish are eating. Yeah, so like it's basically it became just Katie and I meeting up at we have a Mohican national, like a Mohican park over there, fly fishing, and it became this huge organization with basically a board and fellow members that are definitely organizing different things all throughout Ohio. It's pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's really cool to see. And like I said, maybe I'll like pop in from time to time and do a virtual fly tying or something like that. But for right now, since I'm in Montana, I definitely want to have Ohio ladies kind of rolling with it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then here's the thing too, you're in Montana, you know how to do it. Start one in Montana. Like get it going
yeah,
there, right?
yeah,
Like there's probably a need.
yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, it's crazy coming from somewhere that fly fishing isn't really like not many people. I mean, there is a lot of people that fly fish and fish in Ohio, right? But when it came to it, like so Katie Johnstone, I believe, I think there's one other gal right now, but she's the only female guide in Ohio right now. So in Ohio is so needed to have more women out in the water, right? And honestly, if you talk to different fly fishing brands, women in fly fishing is still like the biggest demographic that's growing, right? So, but I mean, like I remember just all my mentors growing up in Ohio, they were all men. I knew a few women that would fly fish, but for the most part, like, Katie and I did a really great job with bringing a lot of these women together and really creating a movement.
That's
So it's awesome.
phenomenal. Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Tell us more about fly fishing. How did you get into it? When did it
Yeah,
like transpire for you into what it is now?
for sure. So always an athlete growing up, played college sports and everything like that. Outside of college, I got into ultra running. So, was running all the time. It was crazy. I did a Bolivia trip where I ran a marathon a day for a week up in the Andes Mountains. We got up to 6K at one point, I believe. And running there, coming from sea level, going up there, running at that altitude was pretty insane. And then from there, I did a bunch of 50Ks and I got into like 40 milers. And I remember it was a cold winter day in Ohio. I was running in our local park system and I saw guys fly fishing. And I was like, hey, that is beautiful. Another way to connect with nature, be outside. And I was like tired, right? I was in my 20s at that point and already getting out of bed. And I was like, man, I need something to do outside that I'm not just like crushing my body running all these miles every single day. So found a class at Orvis in Westlake. Took that one class. It was a 3-class series. And the guy teaching it, his name is Steve Ruger. He's awesome. He's definitely one of my mentors, and it's been back in the day. And a group of guys that I still talk to now that all taught me. And yeah, that's how I found it. I remember catching my first fish at a trout club, right? Like we all do, like nothing crazy or anything like that. And just being like, I want this to be my entire identity now. So it was every day of me just thinking about fly fishing, getting out fly fishing, and putting everything into it, and running went to the backside. So a lot of beer drinking and fishing instead of running. So the total opposite, right? But it's just I just feel like fly fishing in general, I've learned so much from it, right? Like um it slows you down, helps you think, connects you with nature, connects you with people. It's like honestly, I'm so happy that I found it because I wouldn't have been the person that I am today without it. And yeah, that's kind of how I got involved with fly fishing was because of ultra running. So yeah.
Wow. Crazy to think that's what tied you to fly fishing.
Right. I know it's crazy. But yeah, and I'm pretty fortunate where I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, we have an amazing metro park system and we have lake run steelhead. Now that I'm Western, people get really weird about me calling them steelhead because they're trout, right? They're not ocean run. So like no salt, no steel, but I'm from there. I love calling them steelhead, and so I could be, where I lived at that time when I, first started like fly fishing, I could walk maybe a quarter mile down to the first like, area that I could fish. So very fortunate to have that literally in my backyard. And the Cleveland Metro Park system in general is like absolutely insane. Like, people don't really think of Cleveland of being like an outdoor mecca, but it really is because we have like the outdoors at our fingertips right in
Mhm.
the city. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So, what were you when you first started fly fishing?
Yeah.
What were you fishing for?
Yeah, so the Lake Run Steelhead.
Okay.
So yeah, and so I was doing a bobber and like a stonefly or an egg, at the end of my bobber doing drifts. But yeah, steelhead were the first fish that I kind of hooked into well, starting off, which is quite the fish to cut your teeth on for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you say it like
So
that?
they're big and mean, really
Okay.
hard to, hook into and really hard to, get them in. So yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
when you and I kind of just talked a little bit briefly before the podcast, you had mentioned in your message to me that you love to do like musky fly
Yeah. Yeah.
fishing and smallmouth bass. So, tell me more about how did it trickle into that?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have in the Great Lake region, we have a year-round fishery, which is pretty awesome. So not only do we have stock lake run steelhead, but we have resident smallies and then lake run smallies, muskie and pike that are all at our fingertips, right? So of course when you get into fly fishing, I think like it's very easy and people want to catch steelhead. Like everything is focused around our lakefront steelhead in Ohio. And then when you start kind of wanting to fish year round, you're like, what else can I fish for, right? So then we got into smallmouth pike and then eventually muskie. Um, and yeah, I feel like smallmouth right now are my absolute favorite. Like throwing big streamers and stripping them in and things like that. It's absolutely it's a thrill, and it's really cool because of course, like I was saying, we have resident smallies all through our lake systems, but we also have our river systems. I'm sorry, but our lake systems we have lake run smallies, which is pretty unique for our area and the Great Lakes. So you'll have just ginormous smallies coming into our system for spawning purposes, and you'll be swinging a fly for steelhead and hook into a smallie during like the spring season. So I mean, they're aggressive, they're mean, it's freaking awesome. It's like my favorite. You could watch them follow like a fly all the way into the boat, just like you would like a pike and a muskie. Smallies are like absolutely insanely amazing. And then, like I said, from there, like where else can I fish? What else can I fish for? So pike was my next step, and through pretty awesome pike systems in our area. And then, of course, like I wanted to get into the big boys, which was the musky fishing. So yeah,
Yeah. So, when you're trying to fish like one versus the other, is it really just similar to like regular fishing with like a big pole, like in the sense of you're just changing baits based on what you're fishing for, or is there a different technique that you use when you're fly fishing for like a smallmouth bass versus a muskie?
yeah. So kind of like I mean, you're still stripping streamers, but then the flies or your bait would be different, right? So for smallmouth, you could do anything from like like a dragging a crawfish or, like on the bottom is exactly like you would with like a spin rod, right? And then going into like bigger like swim flies, right? So things that like mimic basically exactly what's hanging from right in front of you right
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So most flies, especially newer flies, are all mimicking different types of lures. Yeah, which is
Sure.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
Sure.
So our favorite fly to fish for smallmouth would be like a leggy boy, um, which would mimic exactly the same swim pattern. So it's like articulated. So when it's swimming, it literally is looks like a basically like a fish or a swim fly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
swimming after you. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. And yeah, like you said, different rods, different techniques. So for steelhead, you can, nymph. So with a bobber, you could strip streamers for steelhead as well. And then also you could do two-handed spey rods. So it's there's so many different techniques. It's like wildly crazy how you get into everything. And of course, like from muskie or pike, bigger rods, right? Heavy, sinking lines, bite wire, everything, like everything's so crazy different for everything. But that's what makes it so unique.
Hmm.
And then when you kind of asked, when do you know when to fish for, or like how do you pick, right? It can be seasonal for sure. And then of course, like the lake run stuff will go back in the lake during, when it's not in season. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. Awesome.
yeah.
You kind of touched on it, I guess, just now, but like, what does your gear setup look like for, we can just say musky fishing or no, let's talk about steelheads. Like, what
Okay.
does your rod setup look like? What's the brands that you're using, the line that you're using, things like that?
Yeah. So if I'm an indicator fishing, I'll be using, let's see here. I'll probably be using anywhere between, so my favorite rod is probably like a 9 foot 8 weight for mostly everything, right?
Okay.
So I'll be using an Orvis Helios and just a floating line for that. So scientific angler floating line. Um, and then most of my rods are all Orvis brands. And so I like prefer the 8 weight just because it is a little bit shorter than what you kind of would use for an indicator rod. But I could basically use that rod for, smallie fishing, steelhead fishing, and even pike fishing. So that's probably my go-to rod when it comes to all that. And then, the reels to match that weight rod. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. And
Yeah.
are you making all your own, I want to say baits, but I know that's not exactly what you call them, right?
Call it baits. So flies, yeah, and
Flies,
a
yeah.
lot of the flies, yeah, I do make a lot of my own flies, using a lot of different materials. Right now, I'm doing a lot with like the Pulling Mills materials. There are a lot of innovative stuff that they're coming out with right now. But yeah, most of all my flies are things that I will tie. So it's pretty awesome, especially like getting to eat on something that you tied is pretty magical.
I can only imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
This podcast is sponsored by Taylor & Co. Taylor & Co. is a mother-daughter nurse duo-owned business specializing in handcrafted, all-natural self-care products and services with an emphasis on health, wellness, and holistic healing. Their products are handcrafted in Minnesota with pure, natural, and organic ingredients. They offer wellness services such as yoga classes, Reiki healing, and more. You can find them on Instagram or online at taylorandco.boutique.
So you mentioned kind of like the rivers, lakes. How do you decide? I mean, I'm guessing you kind of mentioned that they're in both, like all the fish are kind of in both. How do you decide like if
Yeah.
you're going to go fish a lake or a river?
I think, like I said, seasonal for sure.
Seasonal.
And then where you kind of want to fish, right? So, sometimes most of my stuff was all river fishing, right? So, but like if I wanted to go chase muskie on, a reservoir or something or a
Yeah.
lake, yeah, we can
Yeah.
do that. But most of the stuff that I always do is just seasonal and like basically kind of like, I don't know, what are you feeling like where do you feel like fishing today? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, definitely seasonal.
Yeah. From your Instagram, the rivers out there just look stunning.
Oh, in Montana. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool. So it was never really a trout angler except for like the steelhead, but running a bobber rod out there or rig out there is a lot like fishing out here. So, but yeah, the rivers out here are absolutely insane. Like I said, I've only been out here since October. I've traveled a lot through Wyoming and Montana, and, past just to go fly fishing and stuff. But it's been really, really cool. Kind of like having no idea where I'm at, where everything is, where the holes are, and really trying to figure it out all over again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally learning a new thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
pretty awesome.
any gear that you swear by. I know you mentioned your favorite rod, but like
Yeah.
any other gear that you're like, you gotta have this if you're fly fishing.
Yeah. Okay. So a good pair of waders, right? So, um, I think that it's just so hard, especially for women, to find like good waders, and that fit you properly, things like that. And I'm going to be like screaming Orvis a ton right now, so I apologize for it. But
No, that's okay.
big Orvis gear fan, and so the Orvis Women Pro waders are absolutely wonderful. I do feel like they fit really well, body types and everything like that. And I just feel like they have the same components as a lot of the top tier waders out there. And then a good pair of wading boots as well. Once again, I love the Orvis Pro boots. Currently testing out the Orvis Ultralight, women's ultralight waders. So been really fun to fish in those for the spring in Montana, just because it's a little bit lighter weight. Water's still cold, but really loving that. So swear by those two things. And then actually the top that I'm wearing right now, Orvis Pro Sun shirt. I have it like in every single color. And I just feel like, I mean, even when I'm not fishing, I'm constantly wearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should,
So
I hope
yeah.
you're pro staff or something for them because you're just totally like dishing it out for them.
Right. Yeah. So my partner right now, Drew, he used to work for them. So him and I, he was, so yeah, him and I have gotten
Yeah.
to, test out a lot of the
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
So, and I do love it. And, it's been great. So
Oh, no,
currently right
that's
now yeah, yeah. So currently right now he's working with Sika. So it's been fun kind of doing like, testing out some of the Sika brands, compared to the Orvis stuff. So yeah.
wait, how, like, what's he doing for Sika?
He's the conservation manager,
Okay.
and community manager, I believe that's his
Okay.
title. Yeah. So, but yeah,
Great.
that's why we're out in Montana right now. Is we moved out here for his job. So yeah,
Okay. How cool.
had
What a
me
fun
kicking and
time.
screaming from Ohio. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, but I'm loving it out here. It's been so much fun. Like I said, I'm getting into so many new things, right? So my background's fly fishing, but started getting into hunting, right?
Yeah.
In Ohio, and definitely took it home here. Had my first turkey hunt, which was
I
pretty
saw.
awesome and successful, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool. So but yeah, so and like, been did a little bit of horseback riding back home, and I've been getting like fully into it now. And yeah, it's been really cool. Just kind of at first I was kicking and screaming about leaving Ohio, but really starting to love it out here. I mean, how can
Yeah.
you not? Like you said, the views are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally stunning. Was it you and your husband turkey hunting?
Yeah, so so Drew and I, so he actually got his first Montana turkey the week before me,
Okay.
which was pretty awesome. So it was really cool. He went out scouting, and honestly, opening day he got it, which was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mind-boggling. I remember him just be like, I might not come back for like a few days, and I was like, oh, like whatever. And then he like called me like a few hours, opening day morning. He's like, I got my first Montana turkey. I was like, oh, bummer. I thought you're going to be like gone longer, Like everyone's always like, all these like memes are always like, oh, like my gal's mad that I'm hunting. I'm like, please go. Like,
Yeah, right?
yeah, give me some time. But yeah, so then the plan was he was going to go out there because he had the extra time to go out turkey hunting. And then I was going to go out for the weekend because of work. I couldn't get out during the week. But mine, it took 3 days. So him and I went out. We originally went back to the same kind of place he scouted, but it's public land. So it was just like so many people, like
Mm,
when we got back there. So we scouted a little bit more, found a place where no one was. And then basically, walked around trying to find like some stuff and like where to go, where the roost was, everything like that. And luckily we bumped into something. We found like the scat or whatever you call
hmm
it. So where they were roosting, and kind of was like looking around, didn't hear anything until it got super late, and finally we heard a gobble calling. Drew was calling it in for me, so big props to him. But yeah, so it was pretty awesome. Like doing all that it took 3 days to chase the one gobbler that we heard the first night, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, like that, we I remember the morning, the second or the first morning, but it was like at that night because we got in Friday. We scouted, heard the turkey, decided to post where we wanted to post up. Went there in the morning, and he was like goblin, like nowhere near us. So wasn't in the same roost that we thought it was, right?
Yeah.
So we decided to get up and try to basically chase this turkey, and yeah, and we just like totally messed it up. We totally like blew it. We scared them off, whatever. It was like this whole thing. And then yeah, by third and then by that night we actually went back to the same spot and almost like ran right into him. We saw him, flared up and doing his strutting around and doing his thing. And we ended up like tucking and rolling, hiding, and then watch where he was at. Decided to kind of like let him do his thing that night and then get back to the proper roost in the morning. And luckily we, that the next morning we were sitting down. We actually watched him come down from the roost. And then it was really cool. We actually saw three hens come down from the roost and the two jakes come down and all strutting in the field. And we had a good shot with like calling him in a few times. And then he came up and over a hill. So we had to get up and like move slowly to get a little bit closer to him because he was already gone. He was already with those hens and things like that. But yeah, it was really cool. Snuck up to him and somehow Drew did one last call, turned, started coming towards us and got that first shot. And it was pretty awesome. Got my first turkey. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. How fun.
Yeah. I know it was insane. I mean, I think that for being your first turkey hunt, it's a pretty insane story.
Yeah,
And pretty awesome. So, and being successful. So yeah.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
have you done any other hunting prior to?
I've sat on like a deer stand with a few of my buddies back home, and didn't see anything. And of course, like I had to go back to work, and the next day, like the buddy I was with got the deer. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
of course.
And then yeah, and then but like it sounds goofy, but squirrel hunting, right? Like
Yeah.
back at yeah. So my buddy Henry, who's been one of my big hunting mentors, he would like always take me out squirrel hunting, and I remember yeah, my first like first squirrel I got, which sounds like so goofy. Like, I mean, I see all like your, everything behind you and all of the things that you've done, but it's really cool. It teaches you a lot, right?
Yeah.
But it was really cool, like going out with him and teaching me how to do everything, and then finally kind of putting it all together out here. And then yeah, so our next step from after that is we just got a bird dog that's crazily running around right now, stealing. Like he has like one of my socks in his mouth right now. I'm trying to pay attention, but I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, the next thing that my partner Drew, he's a big upland hunter, so that's the next thing that I definitely want to get into, especially with our new dog Hank. Trying to his older dog Sammy, him and Drew, her and Drew have like a really good connection. So when they're turkey or when they're upland hunting, they do a phenomenal job together. She like will not like she does not care like will not listen to me out in the field, only Drew, things like that. So it's cool to have Hank now, and hopefully hopefully have a connection with him and be able to get out there by myself and learn the whole process of upland hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see the puppy. Is he close by? Can you grab him?
Yeah, I think I could grab him more.
Let's see him.
Look at that sock in his mouth.
Oh my gosh, he is so
Yeah,
precious.
I know. So
Look at
naughty.
him.
Yeah, so this is little Hank. Yeah.
What kind of
So
dog is
yeah.
it?
It is an English setter. Yeah. So from he's actually from Michigan. So Drew had to go all the way back to Michigan, pick him up, and then brought him over. He's a Montana boy now. So yeah.
Oh, he's so cute.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a handful.
Little nugget.
Yeah.
Fun. Well, cool. I think it's so awesome that you're getting into hunting and like making it a
Yeah.
thing. Especially in Montana, like there's good hunting there. Like, yeah, I don't know if you need another hobby, but
Right. I know. Tell me a little. So you do quite a bit of hunting yourself and bow hunting,
yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah, big bow hunter. I love that's my fly fishing for you. Like it's
Yeah.
it's my life.
I definitely cannot wait to, there's just so many things to do, so little
I know.
time, but that's definitely like another thing that I cannot wait to get into.
Yeah,
So
just
yeah,
buy a bow and start shooting. Honestly,
yeah,
I mean, and to be completely honest, like once you start bow hunting, you'll never want to rifle hunt again. Like, I mean,
I,
like for turkeys, yes, like, and actually, I'm currently bow hunting for a turkey, but I like
yeah.
going out for deer for like rifle opening rifle season feels so wrong now. Now that I've shot a deer with a bow, like it's like it just feels wrong. I'm like, I would rather have my bow in my hand. I mean, a gun can, I mean, anyone can shoot a gun. Like, there's just something about the challenge with the bow. Oh. I don't know.
I, I feel like I have that same like personality type where I just cannot wait to make it as difficult as possible for
Yeah,
me to,
yeah, yeah.
make something happen.
Whatever's gonna stress
So
me out the most, yeah, let's do that.
let's definitely do it. Yeah, that's so cool. So yeah, so is deer your favorite hunt
I
or
mean,
with the bow or
no, honestly, like deer's great, like that, and that's what I've done the most with. But this year, I finally decided to start doing a little bit more hunting on my own, less with my
yeah,
husband, less with my dad. So I
great.
am. I last weekend was the first time, but I went out turkey hunting by myself. I set up my own blind. I moved the blind by myself, like to
Yeah.
try to get closer to the turkeys because I actually had an
Yeah.
encounter with some turkeys. I had called in a huge tom, like just a beautiful tom. I bet he had a 10 or 12-inch beard. He was just
Yeah.
stunning. And
Oh my
he came
gosh.
in with two hens right over this hill. I was shaking. The whole blind was probably shaking. But I got him all the way called in, and he got about 50 yards, and I have my bow, and I'm short. I am not very strong, and so I only pull probably like 43 pounds back with my bow.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I didn't trust myself to make any further of a shot than like 30 yards at max. I think last
Hmm.
year I shot a deer at like 30, 35 yards. So like that's the max I'll go. Because I don't want to injure anything. So I got him
I
into
hear you.
50 yards. The two hens came all the way to my decoy. They were pecking around. It was fantastic. I made a mistake and I only had one decoy out, and it was a hen decoy. And if I would have had like a Jake or a Tom out there with it,
Hmm.
I think he would have come in and like try to fight my decoy, but he stayed out at 50 yards and he would not come in. And then out of nowhere, and this was like a 15-20 minute process to get them all the way in. Out of
Yeah.
nowhere, a coyote ran out from the right side of
Oh
the
my gosh.
I'm like in a field and there's like some bushes here and then another field. Coyote just frickin' sprints right out and chases the tom off. And I was like, no, that was probably my only
Come
chance.
back.
So I would say bow hunting turkeys is pretty legit. Like that's pretty cool. Like I had and to be patient like that and just I had to let them come in. Like there's so much bow hunting just teaches you so much about yourself and just forces you to be a better person. So I feel like that's
Yeah,
why I like it so much.
that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's talk about that. Like, so you're saying how you kind of grew up around hunting. You said your dad and then your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, isn't it crazy? So I'm 36 years old, right? So I'm just starting hunting,
Yeah.
and a lot of things, right? And so that's like the one thing with like Ohio on the fly and like starting all these like outdoor they're intimidating, right? And man, I just the power to you for like getting out there doing that all yourself and
Yeah.
really trying to like put yourself forward like that. That's absolutely amazing. And yeah, I mean, I'm every day it's just like a lesson for me, right? So I'm fly fishing. Like I actually started in my late 20s,
Hmm.
and then it's just been a nonstop learning process for me. Like I grew up with a super like my family, my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister are just amazing human beings, but we kind of like got brought up in a very like like baseball, volleyball, running family, right? And we would hunt. I mean, we would camp and do those things, but when it came to hunting and then fishing, like not so much. So
Hmm.
it's kind of wild from what my childhood to now, like who I am and like what I got into, right? Like I would have never expected myself at 36-year old to be this involved with like fly fishing and hunting and
Yeah.
being outside. And it's just, it's crazy.
Hmm.
But like I mentioned, I do think that it's from my family values and like honestly like how hardworking like we brought up to work hard and like kind of put everything if you want to do something put all your effort into it and yeah so it's pretty cool that you're doing it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. Thank you. And I honestly like you learned so much from your parents and like the values that they taught you and the things that they allowed you to do. And I just posted my dad had a birthday a couple days ago and I posted on my story that like I'm just so thankful for the opportunities that he gave me and
Yeah.
to shoot big deer and like have like the opportunity to hunt and trap with him growing up and all those things and that that literally shaped me as
Yeah.
you'd think I'm sure my mom is just like crying because she probably wishes that like more of like college shaped me and things like that and while yes I'm a nurse and I think that that did shape me I still feel like I was meant to be in the outdoors and like doing those things
Yeah.
and whatever so like that is something huge but I also will say something that I've taken away and learned from like my dad is that he did a lot of things for me growing up. And so he got my stand ready. He did all those things. And so now I'm at the point where I'm in my 30s and I was at I married my husband, right? We've been together for 10 years now, but I'm kind of like, okay, well, you're going to do those things for me, right? Like you're going to get my stand ready and you're going
Yeah.
to get and he's like, "No, like I'm not." But that's been more of like a recent thing. Like within the last couple of years, he's like, "Victoria, you need to take the initiative to do these things." And
So
so I
cool.
just want to give like a shout out to him too because like it hasn't just been all me. It's actually been a push from other people being like, "Victoria, you're very capable." Like you
Yeah,
and this is a push to women out there too listening, like you're capable. You can do anything. Like
for
if
sure.
you set your mind to it and you want to do it, just do it. Like it's going to be scary. And did I want to set that blind up by myself? And did I want to go out there and scout and like figure things out by myself? No, I didn't want to, but I did it. And it feels, I'm taking the day off of work on Friday to go finish, hopefully fill this frickin' tag. And my husband
Yeah.
was like, I'll go with you. And I'm like, no, now I want to do it alone. Like now I just want to like make it happen by myself and like just get it done.
It's so, I remember like you were saying the first time I went out, like I mean I relatively was like fly fishing by myself all the time. But the first
Yeah.
time I traveled to a stream that I had no idea, I was in Pennsylvania, I went there by myself. I had no idea where I was at. I remember like being out there for 8 hours, not even seeing anything. I remember like tearing up. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Like, why? I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I look probably so silly. And then remember exactly what you said, but you're like, it's the process. And
Mhm.
like, a year, 2 years go by, you're working towards it. And it's insane. Like you said, like you can't do it. Like it's going to be hard. It's going to be frustrating. You're going to feel weird constantly about it. And maybe I shed so many tears, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of it, it's like, holy crap, like I could do all this stuff all by myself, set it up. And then when you do get that turkey by yourself with your bow, you're going to be like, holy crap, I'm
Yeah.
a freaking badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
It's
no, it's so cool. It's so
yeah.
cool. And like you said, I'm huge on like, women going out there doing it themselves. And I love having like mentors. Like I said, most of my mentors were men, amazing men. But yeah, it's really cool being in a generation now, like you doing these podcasts or how I'm on the fly, or you have these resources where women are going out there and being your mentors, which is freaking awesome. And
Yeah.
even just hearing us talk, hopefully today, it just basically like lights a fire under someone that is curious about hunting or fishing or being in the outdoors, and knowing that it's a safe place for everyone and
Yeah.
it's so easy to get started, and there's so many organizations that you could get involved with that will be happy to get you involved with it, with like whatever you want to do. So it's
Hmm.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
Absolutely. How cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little teary-eyed over here. I think it's
I know it's pretty sweet. Yeah.
so passionate. I love it. Okay, well now I want to get into some other aspects of your life,
Yeah.
Jessica. And you kind of alluded to it earlier, but holy hell, you are an ultra marathon runner, and we need to talk about that. So when we were chatting before, um, you mentioned that, and I like when I think about those races, my head goes not to the fact that you're like running, but you're like forcing yourself to struggle. So I
Yeah.
want I want to know like what made you choose a sport that's so mentally and physically grueling.
So it's been a while since I've done like a big race like that, but so in college I was put on the floor. I was a volleyball player in college, but I was put on the floor with all the runners, right? So they would go out in the morning or in the evening and do like their runs, and I would want to be involved with them.
Yeah.
And so I started running that way, just having a community of badass gals to run with. And then I decided in my college year, I played college volleyball, but I decided to walk on to like their track team my senior year of college. And I did I did a few sprints on like long jump for them.
Yeah.
And so then from there, my dad was always my running buddy. So him and I, when I got outside of college, got into longer distance running together. Like I said, our metro parks back home, amazing trail systems, and you could go on for miles and miles and miles. In the middle of relatively the city, or going out to the Cuyahoga National Forest, and yeah, just like you could cruise for the entire day and be on a different trail. So we started getting into a lot of local races over there. And then from that, we did like a West Virginia 40 milers up in the Shenandoahs, I believe it was. But yeah, it's insane. And then I totally missed the Annie's part. So outside of college, it was called Impossible to Possible, and it was an organization basically to get youth to go out and believe they could do anything, right? So exactly what we're talking about. So Ray Zahab was the creator. He's a Canadian ultra runner, and I think he still has the fastest time for running across the Sahara Desert in quite a few other places as well. And he took a group of college students, including myself, and we went to Bolivia. And the plan was to run across the Salar de Uyuni, which is the largest salt flat in the world. And it actually rained so much that it got flooded. So we did quite a few miles on the Salar de Uyuni, but I was so happy when they pulled us off of it, because it was just so flat, like, a mile, or like, you could like look into the distance and see the truck, and it would be like 5 miles away. And you're like, oh, I'm almost there. And it's like, no, you're not. It's so far away. But so they basically took us off the Salar, and we went up into the mountains, which got us got us up in the like active volcano areas and things like that. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, so that's my ultra running history, and it basically taught me exactly what you said. It's like you go into this like it's, you think your body can only do so much, and then you're like, holy crap, at mile 30 I'm feeling like crap. I have 12 more miles to go, or whatever. It's like you could push yourself even further. And I've gotten into those sitting down on the ground, just being like, I could. I remember like one time, this is so like, it's kind of like, kind of like scary sounding, but I remember sitting one time, I was like, it's only 40 miles. There's people that do like 100-mile races and things like that. But for 40 miles for me was a lot, and I remember sitting down one time on the ground and just being like, oh my gosh, I could just like give up and like just take a nap right here. Like, I can't, I have nothing left. And I remember this, thank goodness, I remember this one guy came up to me and he was just like, hey, are you okay? And I just wanted to be like, no. But yeah, just someone just being like, hey, like, you can do this. Are you okay? Pulled me through the end of the race. And but yeah, I mean, that right there taught me so much grit, and that your body can do so much, and you can push yourself so much. And it's all mental, right? At that point, it's like you could be as fit as you can, but like a lot of it comes down to being mentally tough, getting through those races, especially those, higher mountain races. And currently right now, I did sign up for a few just like shorter 10 milers out here in Montana, trying to get back into it, but been trying to get a little bit more passionate about weightlifting.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah. Do you hear my dog in the back? Their dog in the
No.
background. I'm so sorry. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm like, he's like barking at me, kind of like, he's like, what the heck? But yeah, so because I was running, or because I was fishing, and like, like at the end of the day, when you're like done with fishing, you go to the bar and you eat bar food, and like
Yeah.
you drink. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, I need to start doing something again. Like, I stopped running. I was running a little tiny bit, but started doing CrossFit in a local gym in Ohio, and just got so in love with it. And like I said, I've been an athlete, and like I can't even talk to you about how much I think being engaged in something at a young age, whether it be athletics or being an artist or whatever, like having that like discipline of like team sports and being, pushed really freaking hard, and or like even being critiqued as an artist or everything like that, having that mental toughness through all of that stuff, like really, you could be a 36-year-old and jump on a horse that you've never been a horseback rider, and kind of like, take the lead, listen to instruction, learn really quickly, be strong enough to be and capable enough to do those things. And yeah, like I'm just such a component of being healthy, being athletic, constantly diving into a million different things, learning. And that's what makes life go like round, right? Like I feel like the moment that you stop listening to people, learning from people, and you stop pushing yourself is, I mean, like, what's the point after that,
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
completely agree. Back to the like the ultra marathon like piece
yeah.
of it. Like,
Yeah.
no, no, we're gonna get to that too, but like how
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you balance like how were you balancing and maybe I already know the answer. Like you probably didn't need to balance anything like with the ultra marathon run because you were doing it before you started fly fishing.
Yeah, so I was doing it relatively before I started fly fishing. And um, I did have a few races while I was doing it, but
Yeah.
I mean, you wake up at 5:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
you
You
get
just make it
your
happen.
lifts, you make it happen, right? And you're exhausted for like what, a few weeks when you start training process, but your body gets used to it, your body
Right.
gets acclimated. um but I got so involved with fly fishing, like I meant, like, I mean, like every weekend grinding out where to go, trying to figure out that type of stuff, where yeah, my whole life was fly fishing at that point, with a little bit of like, 3 to 5 mile runs in between to try to stay in shape.
Yeah.
But I do miss it. I mean, like, I mean, you're running basically, 6 days a week, anywhere between 5 to 30 miles, like on the weekends, just trying to get ready for a race. And I miss being able to like eat an entire pizza. And I was also in my 20s at that time too, but I miss like being able to just like crush whatever and like, drink a bunch of beers and, bounce back pretty quickly and do those things. So, but yeah, no, I always talk to Drew about it. I'm like, I definitely eventually would love to get back into doing that type of stuff. And I think that with my time in life right now, not being involved with so many community activities with Ohio Men the Fly and doing all that stuff, it's definitely possible. I could probably train for an ultra, still get to fish and do everything that I'm doing working wise, and yeah, kick ass basically. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. But
yeah,
you're so far removed from it now. Like, do you think it's going to be just absolutely just the hardest thing ever to get back into it? I used to be a big runner too. I loved half marathons. I started training for my first marathon and I have no cushion between my L5S1 and my lower spine. So I like am bone on bone
oh
basically. So
yeah,
I ran the last time I ran long distance, I think I hit 14 miles during a training a couple years ago when I was doing that training for that marathon. And the next day I couldn't walk. So I'm like, I have
yeah,
I have to give this up. Like I can't keep doing it. I can do shorter distances, like I can do a 30-minute run or something like that, but I just can't handle those. My body can't handle those long distances. But I'm at the point where I also love lifting and
yeah,
I just it's just such a different high to me anyways.
right.
But I'm curious, oh, I lost what I was gonna say. Um
You're curious if I could, like, you think I could pick it back up
yeah,
again?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah,
like I think
yeah.
about it and I don't know that I could.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, I'm 36. I'm definitely feeling the wear and tear of my body.
Yeah.
Playing volleyball, it's mostly my shoulders. And luckily I'm pretty healthy though. Like I don't have like, my body's still relatively
Yeah.
like capable.
Yeah.
I think that for me, it like, you really have to dedicate a lot of your life to, if you want to like do the ultras, right? So like, I mean, for me right now, like it would be relatively easy, because instead of doing like a 30-minute gym session, right, lifting session or whatever, like I wake up a little bit earlier. I'm not walking around the house with my coffee cup, like I'm, you just straight grind. So I
Right.
do think that, time wise, like that was the biggest component for me why like I kind of stopped, is because I kind of wanted to like live my life, right? I was
Sure.
an athlete my entire life, and yeah, like I got to like, party and stuff like in college and everything. But for the most part, like I was grinding in college. I was, working 2 jobs, college, and then playing like sport. So I remember like right out of college, I got into ultra running. So it was like another thing I dedicated my entire life to. And I remember like fishing gave me like basically a little bit of leeway to kind of be able to like relax a little bit,
Yeah.
run a few miles, drink a little bit,
Yeah.
and like have a life, like hang out with people and have a life. Like I wasn't in bed at like 8:30, in my 20s because I had to wake up and run like 30 miles.
Right.
Now, being a 36-year-old, I'm in bed at 8:30 anyway. So
Yeah.
like I'm like I would be and I'm up by, 5:30. So yeah, I think that actually I would be smarter, more capable and healthier about doing these ultra races because and even like funding wise, right? Like being able to have the resources to
Yeah.
recover my body even more properly and do things. So yeah, I mean, I've been like talking about it for a while now. And I think, like I said, because of where I'm at in life right now and being not connected to so many people back in Ohio, it gives me the time to actually be able to kind of challenge myself in that aspect again. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that for you.
Yeah.
I'll be watching. You better start training
Yeah. We'll
again.
see. I know I'll hold you as my like little person, like nudging me to keep
Yeah.
going. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
but I mean,
awesome.
so let's talk about that though. So like running background and involved with hunting, right? I mean, like being strong, having that endurance, like, I think the one day for turkey hunting, we hiked 8 miles
Yeah.
up and down, you know what I mean? So, I'm excited for like, I'm getting into like elk hunting and all those type of things and, having to pack out my thing, pack out
Yeah.
an elk. I'm gonna go. Is it okay if I go grab him
Go
really
grab
quick?
him.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm so
No,
sorry.
you're fine.
Yeah. All right, sweet. That's my big boy. He's a doodle. His name's Loki, and he is attached to my hip constantly.
Oh,
So,
buddy.
um, but yeah. So, like we were saying, I'm so like all these components of like from in my 20s or college ages to now is leading up to all these tools, right? Like it's just so cool to put all these tools together, right? To be this ultimate, like, I have the endurance, the mindset, I know how to like relatively shoot and I could add on more things. So it's really cool the process of like, 20-year-old volleyball college Jess and adding all these things into now being 36 years old and being like, hey, I could go out and hike 15 miles if I wanted to and pack out something because I know how much I can lift and things like that. So yeah, I there's like a few moments in my life right I'm like, 36, I'm kind of over the hill. But no, I'm actually feeling the most confident and capable that I've ever been. And I just know that with my past that, I've done these things before and it's just time and effort and putting passion into it. It's how it's going to get you there. It's pretty simple,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, and
Absolutely.
anyone can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, like it's hard, I know, as we age. And it's so funny because you remember your like parents being the age that we are now. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, that's so old. And now we're in our 30s and we're like, that's not that old. But
It's not old at
like,
all.
I feel
Yeah.
like people say like 40s are the best. And like some people like change their lives in their late 30s
Right?
and their early 40s. Like we are just starting. Like there is
Yeah.
no reason that you can't go run another ultra and like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, kick the shit out of an elk. Like I'm excited for you. That's super cool. I feel like wow. I would love to I mean, elk hunt is on so many people's bucket list, I'm sure. But like to be able to live there and like that could be like a season for you. Like you could just elk hunt like every year kind of thing.
I'm honestly like I'm never in a million years would I think I'd be out in Montana. So when Drew got this position with Sika, I'm so fortunate that he asked me to join him, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are he said husband. We're not married yet. So yeah, but
Yeah.
so yeah, but it's just so fortunate to have me here. And yeah, even like a fly fishing season here in Montana, I'm just like I'm over the moon excited for that. And then like you said, a whole season like chasing elk, like just being able to grind out every weekend. I like no complaints here.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I just like cannot wait to even just like I feel like you have the same personality. Like once you get into something, like I'm just like, oh, it's all I can think about. Like I'm
Oh
trying
yeah.
to concentrate at work, but I'm just like in between. So for work, I'm like, bouncing the different accounts, like taking wine and beer orders. And
Yep.
so like in between all those accounts, I'm listening to podcasts and YouTube, and I'm just like so like obsessed with like whatever I'm trying to get into. So,
Yeah.
which is why also, by the way, I wanted to get into horseback riding because horse packing is on my list of things that I
Ooh.
really want to do as well for hunting purposes. So I've been 3 days a week I've been going out and riding with this amazing gal out in Montana. She's a born and raised in Wyoming, been on a horse like since the day she was born.
Oh,
But she's been such an amazing resource for me, and so I'm leasing one of her horses, and she's just like been insanely like helpful, like even just learning how to ride properly, keeping myself safe. We've done a few horse packing classes already, and then honestly we've been talking about roping as well. So her husband helps manage a cattle farm and stuff like that, so just being able to be involved around that. And like I said, it's just like so many opportunities, and like I'm just like that type of person that like can say no, like I'm
right.
like, yes, let's do that, let's
Right.
like put that onto my bucket. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was just talking to the girl whose episode went live what's today, Wednesday? So yesterday, Gabby, she's from
Uh-huh.
Wisconsin. And she was talking about pickleball, and she's like, now I'm just like so into it. I'm like, okay, so you're just like me, and it sounds like Jessica, you're the same as me as well. I make like whatever I'm doing is my identity. Like I'm
Yeah.
officially like, okay, now I am this person who is obsessed with, horseback riding and like all the things. I think that's so fun. And I think it's what you had said too. Like there's so much more than just jumping on the back of a horse and going. Like it's amazing that you're taking classes and that there's the opportunity to do those things. Some people just don't know those opportunities are out there to like learn those things and like rent a horse and
Yeah.
like or lease a horse and be able to take the backpacking class. Like that's insane.
Great. Yeah, I cannot agree more with you. It's like I, people want to share what they're
Mhm.
passionate about, right? So when you're like, if you want to get involved with something, like I went on a Facebook forum, a Montana horse like Facebook forum. I'm like, hey, I'm Jess. I just moved here.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a horse to lease? And
Right.
like honestly, like it's insane how many people are so willing to like teach you, right?
Mhm.
And you should never be afraid of that either. Like I feel like some people are intimidated about like going out on like group trips or like these meetups and things like that. I am like such a huge component of, I'm so sorry, come here bud.
You're
um
fine.
I'm gonna, yeah, so I am such a big component of people going out there and like really trying to work with mentors, work with different people, and get involved. Like I mean, like I can't even tell you how many people I like. Let's see here, Ohio Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. I was involved with them for a while. That's kind of like how I got involved with hunting. Right? They wanted someone to help out with the fishing aspect of Ohio Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. And I was like, cool, I can help out with fly fishing. And then literally that's how I got connected with. I got my hunting license. My buddy Henry was also on the board. And like the information, like I still have a group text with all those guys from Ohio. They text me every single day. Where it's like hysterical. Open up my text message and it's just like all these like turkey or deer or whatever photos.
Yeah.
But it's just like those guys, like being connected to them, I could text them anything. I'd be like, hey, like I have a question, right? And it's insane how much information and like the willingness of people to get involved with something. So
Mhm.
if you're out there, if you're afraid of like, if you're like thinking about getting into something, afraid of it, please like look up your local organizations, whether it be like something like Ohio on the Fly or Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. There's just like so much information and so much things to get involved with.
Yeah, I think
So
that's a good
yeah,
testament too to even just like talking to women that you follow on Instagram. Like there's we have these people that we call famous and whatever, but I
yeah,
have reached out to people on this podcast that have hundreds of thousands of followers who I have plans to have on this podcast, and they were
yeah,
happy to do it. People want
yeah,
to
yeah.
share their knowledge. They want to help you. They want to support, especially women in the outdoors. Like
Oh
if
yeah,
it's something in the outdoors or like some sort of anything with the outdoors, like people want to see women do it. Like they want to support you. And there's a lot of people like even you reach out to someone that you follow, like let's say someone follows you and they love fly fishing, they just don't know where to start. Like just message her. Like just message
Yeah.
Jessica. Just message whoever you're
Hmm.
following. Like I think people think that they can't, or there's so much spam out there too that gets to
Yeah.
be hard, but like just send the message. You have no idea what
Right.
that person's going to respond with. Like it might be your new mentor. It might be your new like best friend. Like just do it. Send the message.
Yeah. Yeah. The worst that happens is they don't respond back. Like, who
Right.
cares, right? Like,
Right.
whatever. But yeah, no, I can't agree more with you. And on top of that too, like, I think that when with social media nowadays as well, like when people are so judgmental really quickly that like if someone's doing something wrong, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I remember I had this one guy, he helped me big time with so his name is Jimmy Lampros,
Hmm.
and he helped me big time with steelhead fishing. And I remember him telling a story one time about a young kid that went into a spot where someone was steelhead fishing and like low hold him and didn't understand what that meant. And
Hmm.
basically like he went into this older man's spot and basically like got too close, got into his hole, and he didn't know any better, right?
Yeah.
So this guy just like literally cussed him out, screamed at him, and like just like, you know what I mean, just being a big
Yep.
bully, right? And that could break someone right there, right? Like
Yeah.
you could be like, I don't want to ever fish ever again.
Yep. That
Like,
could have been that kid's first time going out by himself. He took that chance and then you just ripped
yeah,
him down like that. As a female, like I would just be like, I'm
oh my
done.
gosh, right? And so like his mom, Jimmy said his mom dropped him off to go fishing. Like
Oh,
that's how, and this kid just got bullied, right? And so Jamie saw all this happening, and instead of like, like think about it, right? Instead of being that person that's bullying someone online or on the river or even in a field, tell them what they're doing wrong nicely, right? So Jamie went up to this kid and was like, "Hey, guy, like you're good. Keep doing what you're doing. We all started somewhere." But instead of like just being like, "Hey, like this is what it was," like ask him if you could like go fish next to him, or hey, am I too close to you, or like if someone's in that area, go to the next spot. Like
yeah.
I know that you didn't know, and that's okay, and this is a good learning lesson. And I think that if more people took that approach, like if that guy in that river was just like, hey buddy, like I just want to let you know that you're low holing me right now, and it's not a big deal if you're new and you're young, but usually it's not great to it's not great to do that to someone.
Hmm.
And so that's a whole other thing too. Like there's so many people out there that are great mentors and stuff, but for the people that like get so hot headed about this young kid, whatever, like maybe take like another step. If you're listening to this, like maybe instead of just being a jerk, talk to that person nicely, because that could be a breaking point for someone not to be in the outdoors, which is super shitty, right? So
Yeah.
for me too, like ever since I've heard that story, like I've never been like a person that bullied anyone in the first place, but like, hey, if
No.
there's someone that's doing something wrong, right? Like, you know, kindly, like, you know, don't like, you know, be crazy explaining to them, but like, hey,
Right.
be like, hey, like, if you were in this spot and someone did this to you, like, how would that make you feel? And I think that being passionate about being like having some empathy towards like these young people or just people like people in general would make like the world just be so much better.
Hmm.
Yeah, so if you're listening, all the people that are just doing a good job wanting to share all of their stuff and all their knowledge, hell yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
But for the people that are out there getting upset about a young kid or someone not knowing what they're doing, hey, think about it a little bit differently, because you
Yeah.
started somewhere and they probably still know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly. That goes right
yeah,
back to the point where like you could have just made a friend. Like you could have been that boy's
I
like
know.
complete support system in his new journey. So that's
His huge
disappointing, but
mentor, right?
yeah.
I know. So yeah, and it happens a lot, especially like on the internet and
Oh
like
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. So like people are just so willing to put down people when,
Yeah.
you know, I think most of it they're putting the effort, even just getting out there and trying. It's like
Yeah.
you should constantly be supporting anyone that's trying to make an effort to better themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like, I mean, to be completely honest, or the way that I view it anyways, is this industry is big, but it's not. It's not that big.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
especially, females and young kids, like, geez, support these people that are like coming up and doing something that isn't like super common. Like that's one thing that one of the reasons I started this podcast is because I have no friends who are like big into hunting and fishing. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start this podcast. We're gonna start building a community of women from like all over and just get to know each other and like all the things. And that was important to me. So like just being able to just remember, yeah, like you said, like just remember that like people are really putting themselves out there to do these things that are the
Hmm.
minority. Like just support them.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's like super passionate about that, super passionate about community and getting people out there and just
Yeah.
being welcoming. And like you
Yeah.
said, you could be someone's mentor for life and best friend for life. And that's
Yeah.
literally all the people that are in my life now are because of exactly what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
connecting them to you know, to things. And the same with them connecting me to, the outdoors. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's an amazing
Yeah.
place, amazing space.
I love it. I agree. Okay, I have a couple fun, like fun questions for you.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Yeah.
you're very passionate, you're very like driven, you have a lot of things going on right now. What drives you to get everything done every day, like between workouts, outdoor living? Tell us like a day in the life of Jessica.
Oh shoot. Okay, so right now, I was doing like a lifting program,
Yeah. What
so
were you following?
it was at Sorex, like spring cleaning or whatever it's
Okay.
called. Yeah, yeah. And so my brother is a big lifter. My whole family is. So like my cousins, I have two. We're all once again we're all over. We have some in the Carolinas, some in California. I'm in Montana and Ohio. So it's been really cool following these programs, and we're all doing them together, and then we all like communicate with each other. Basically, how's it going? How's the program going? So waking up in the morning and being able to get a lift in and then communicating with my family about how it's going, that keeps me going there, right?
Yeah.
And then of course I have to work. So getting up in the morning, getting my lift in, getting to work, and then just being passionate about like fly fishing, learning new places and spaces, and then horseback riding. There's like so much to do, right? So I'm in like the outdoor like candy store, I feel like. So like
Hmm.
I'm so excited when I get to get off work and I'm like, what are we going to do today? If it's
Yeah.
raining, I'm going to go ride a horse inside. If it's the rivers are looking good, I'm going to go fishing. There's just never ending things that possibilities to get going. So
Yeah.
and I'm not one to sit. I have a really hard time sitting still. Actually, like Drew, my partner, is always just like, you don't know how to turn off, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. But you can see it as a negative, but also I see it as a positive because I mean that's how I get through the day.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Love to hear it. Okay, you give major mountain girl vibes, like with your
Oh yeah.
outfits and all the things. Where are you doing your typical like shopping for like every day? I mean, Orvis, obviously, but what else?
Yeah,
Where else
yeah.
are you shopping?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, because I feel like I'm not a mountain gal. I'm a little flatland gal in Ohio, cornfield gal. But I appreciate that, and yeah. So a lot of my clothing, like outdoor clothing, is from Orvis, of
Mhm.
course, and I've been wearing a lot of Sika lately, which has been
Yeah.
phenomenal. I feel like their women's pants and like even their it's just like it's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So their stuff
quality.
has been such good quality. And then, I'm trying to think of like other things like, I like a lot of brand hats. So Fulling Mill, Scientific Angler, Orvis, Sika. A lot of my brand flat brim hats are from companies that I've worked with in the past and things
Yeah.
like that. And I support. And then, of course, I love Free Fly. I don't know if you know that brand. Yeah, so it's like I think they're in the Carolinas, if I believe, but they make the like organic cotton shirts and all
Okay.
these things, and it's all like sunwear, amazing gear. So I've gotten a few of their pieces as well. And yeah, so I'm like, usually it's like, people that I'm like talking to, brand wise and things like that. But for the most part, like I said, like Sika and Orvis, I love their stuff so freaking
Yeah.
much. And I wear a lot of it. And then like Free Fly, my gosh, like look it up. They're like their sun shirts, like they're so comfortable and
Yeah.
they fit really well. So amazing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Good to know. I bought
Yeah.
some, I dumb, but I love Amazon and I know I do a lot of small business shopping too, but like I do love Amazon and I bought some
Yeah.
sun shirts off of Amazon last year for our Canada trip and
Yeah.
I am so embarrassed because like sun shirts should be like sweat wicking and you shouldn't be able to see the
Oh
sweat.
no.
Oh, I am a sweaty girl and I had
Yeah.
pit sweat from like my frickin' elbow all the way down. And my husband has a YouTube channel and I'm like cute, really cute. So ladies, if you're listening, invest in some damn good shirts because
Yeah.
they don't work if you don't have good ones.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I feel like, I like you're the same way. Like I have like a little bit of dress clothes, right? Like
Yeah.
no one's like afraid to like spend money on dress clothes, but they get so weird about spending money on athletic clothes, right? And I'm just like, man, like I don't know. I agree with you. Like spend the money, like you're gonna be in it 24/7.
Yeah.
Like I'm in my, and of course, like I love like Lululemon leggings and things
Yeah.
like that as well. But man, I'm in all that stuff more than I am ever in like a dress or whatever. So yeah, invest in your gear and a good sun shirt. Like I said, this one right here, you're not going to see any sweat stains on
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I would invest in something like that. And like I said, Free Fly, they make some really good stuff as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sweet. Okay, a couple more questions. So far since you've been in Montana, what's your favorite place to like visit like for a day? Like let's say someone's out in Montana, where should they visit? And then the other thing is like a date night. Where would you want to go? Like where do you guys go on date night?
So we've been hitting up the local, restaurants a lot around here for some date nights, there's a place called Blackbird and they make all their handmade pasta. Like it's all handmade pasta.
Ooh.
It's so good. So like, if you want to be on that aspect fancy wise, like I love Blackbird. It's in the Montana or Bozeman. But man, like Drew and I date night, it's literally we get off work and we're on the rivers. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like we're just such outdoor people, like whether it be walking or hiking our dogs or being on the river. But um we do a lot on like the Gallatin is kind of like our local river right now. So it's only like, 15-20 minutes away. And so we've been doing a lot on like the Gallatin, East Gallatin, and that's usually our date nights. And then we'll go and grab like a cheap beer and like a burger from somewhere
Yeah.
afterwards. And that's my favorite thing. I'll do that any day besides sitting down. But that Blackbird is like, if you want some good pasta and a good meal,
Yeah.
like that's a good place to go to. But yeah,
Both sound phenomenal. Great
yeah,
date.
yeah. Can't complain. Yeah.
Those are my last two questions. So beautiful.
Cool.
Love
Awesome.
it. I am so thankful that you came on because this was just a very heartwarming conversation. I feel like I learned a lot, but I also feel like it was just, I don't know, a good conversation. Felt good.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to, first time meeting each other, but I'm so excited to continue our friendship. And
Yeah.
if you ever make it out to Montana, please let me know. You have a place to stay. I'll take you fishing and
Oh
whatever
God.
else you want to do. Yeah.
Heck yeah,
So,
that'd be sweet. That'd be so sweet. Well, I can't wait to, and everyone else who decides to follow you after this, we can't wait to watch you run an ultra marathon.
oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll let you know which one I pick out. And now I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah,
So,
now
yeah,
we're holding you accountable.
I love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, where can people find you? Go ahead and say like your Instagram handle and stuff.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is just Jessica Suvak. Nothing crazy. I did start a new little fly tying, gals fly tying Instagram called Girl Talk Live. So once a month we have a new gal come on that's a tyer. So if you wanted to follow that and learn how to tie and like, meet someone from, all
Yeah.
over the place. That's a kind of a cool place to see me as well. So yeah.
Super cool. That's an Instagram
Yeah.
live then that you guys do it on?
Instagram live. Yeah, we go on. The gal teaches a fly, but we basically just yap exactly what we're doing right
Yeah.
now, telling stories and whatever. And it's live. We don't record it. We kind of just like let it happen. Whoever wants to follow along can get on there, and then that's that. So
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
God, that's super cool. Fun.
yeah,
Fun. Okay. Well, thank you, Jessica. It was so nice meeting you and everyone else. We will catch you next time.
great talking to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. At Hartung Taxidermy, we specialize in preserving memories of the hunt or the catch. Tyler can create lifelike lasting memories that capture the essence of your experiences. What they offer? Custom taxidermy, specializing in turkeys to big game like bear, mountain lions, bobcats, and deer. We craft stunning pieces that showcase the unique characteristics of each animal. Why choose Hartung Taxidermy? Tyler is a skilled and passionate craftsman with years of experience. He creates detail-oriented, lifelike creations that stand the test of time. Also, affordable pricing and a commitment to the customer satisfaction. Bring your memories to life with Hartung Taxidermy. Contact them today to schedule a consultation. Call 715-416-4008 or visit him at Hartung Taxidermy on Facebook or Instagram.